Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Moto Mengy channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the oldest debate in the Harley culture community. I currently ride a Honda Goldwing. I have for the past 4+ years. But before the Goldwing, I rode Harleys my entire life. For over 2 decades. And there's always one topic in the Harley community that always spurned heated discussion, heated debates, heated arguments. And that topic is street glide versus a road glide. Which bike is better? Which one rides better? Which one looks better? If you're in any group of Harley people and you want to stir some crap, raise up the issue of street glide versus road glide, batwing versus shark nose, and you will inevitably get some heated discussion, let's put it that way. Now, as road glides got more popular, there was a time when there weren't many road glides on the road. But nowadays, there are lots of road glides on the road. They've got a lot more popular. So it used to be like the road glide people were few and far between, arguing against the masses of street glides and electric glide owners. But nowadays, it's pretty even. There's a lot of road glide riders nowadays. So why am I talking about this today? Well, last summer, I got to ride a street glide and a road glide special back-to-back within an hour or two of each other. I was at Appalachian Harley Davidson for their Harley demo rides. They have the Harley demo truck come once a year. And my brother and I and a friend of mine, Cleet, were out to Appalachian Harley Davidson to spend the day riding Harley Davidsons, test riding them for fun. And for the first time in my life, I got to ride a street glide special and a road glide special like together, like within an hour or two of each other, back-to-back, to directly compare how they ride, which one feels better, which one, looks better, which one feels better from the seat, that kind of stuff. Originally, I filmed both rides. I was going to make a video on the street glide review and then the road glide review, but I decided instead to do a street glide versus road glide review. So for this video, I'm going to edit up both test rides, shorten them up because they're like a half an hour each. I'm not going to have all of it in there, but I'll give my impressions on the street glide first, and then I'll give my impressions of the road glide and how that ride went. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you, I'll tell you my honest opinion of which bike I like better. Now, full disclaimer, I owned road glides for over 10 years. I had 2 road glides in my life, a 2011 Road Glide Ultra and a 2016 Road Glide Ultra. So I am a little partial to road glides possibly. So without further ado, I'll get into the street glide ride first and then the road glide ride afterwards. Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just checking that out. I said, that's a nice paint job.
Yeah, it is. They did a good job with it.
Yeah, I have to remember
that. 2023 Street Glide Anniversary Edition. Street Glide Special Anniversary. And away we go. Remember, clutch and shift. Clutch and foot shift. Clutch and foot shift. Remember to shift, Mengy. Before we start this demo ride, I want to give a special shout out and a thank you to Appalachian Harley Davidson here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for having this open house and doing these demo rides today and allowing us to ride all these different bikes. This is really a cool event. Now, I've not ridden a street glide or a batwing fairing not since 2010, so 13 years. Yeah, wow, 13 years. The last time I rode a batwing fairing was an electric glide, a touring bike, a full cruiser, and that was the day I bought my road glide tour, my road glide Ultra they called it back then. This was called the Electric Glide Ultra back then, with a tour pack on the back, and that's what I rode. And I did not like the batwing fairing at all. And the reason why I didn't like the batwing fairing at all was just because it feels too cramped for me. It's too close to me as a rider. It blocks my view up front. Now, I was coming from a 2005 Heritage Softail at the time with a clear windshield up front, so that's what I was used to. I was used to all that visibility and stuff, so I didn't like this. didn't feel good to me. But then I rode the Road Glide Ultra, and I loved the Road Glide fairing. It felt more open. It felt more better visibility to me. And I just felt like the Road Glide rode better, and it handled better, and it felt better on the road and the highway. So I ended up buying the Road Glide. But I had a very negative memory of the Batwing fairing 13 years ago when I last rode it. So today here at the demo days at Appalachian Harley Davidson, I figured I'd take out this 2023 Street Glide Anniversary Special to let me feel what a Batwing fairing feels like again. Just to remind me what it's like. And you know what? It's not as bad as I remember it being. It's actually not so bad at all. But from a purely rider's point of view, I do feel like the Road Glide fairing is the better performance fairing. It's mounted to the frame instead of the handlebars, so you don't get the wind buffeting on your hands like you do on the Batwing at high crosswind situations. Nice. This bike sounds good. Wow. Great sound to it. But for just general slow touring, that wind buffeting issue, having the fairing mounted to the handlebars of the frame, doesn't really come into play. That's only mainly for highway cruising. And in all honesty, the Batwing fairing probably doesn't make a huge difference with wind buffeting on the hands either. It's a minor difference, it's there. But in my opinion, the biggest difference is just the feeling behind the fairing, the feeling from the seat. Oh, this bike sounds wonderful. I like the exhaust of this bike, wow. But now that I'm riding the Batwing fairing again for the first time in 13 years, that claustrophobic feeling behind it isn't as bad as I remembered it being. It's still there. I still prefer the Road Glide fairing. But it's not as big a detriment as I remember it being. One nice thing about the Batwing fairing is these parts here block the wind from your hands. That is nice. On the Road Glide fairing, your hands are a little more exposed to wind. And that matters more in cold temperature riding. Your hands get colder with the cold wind hitting them, whereas on the Batwing fairing, it does block the wind from your hands a little better. But whereas, you know, the Road Glide fairing has better wind management behind the fairing, and right now, well, this is a small windshield, so that's not helping any either, but actually it's not so bad. This vent here probably is helping quite a bit. This Batwing is different than the one I rode last 13 years ago. They've redesigned the Batwing fairing since then to add this vent up here. To change the shape a little bit for better wind management. So it is probably a better feeling fairing than the one I rode. But it is kind of nice for the Batwing. You get the gauges all in front of you like this, closer to you, they're easier to read. On the Road Glide, they are a little further away. That's a minor thing, but it does make a difference. Okay, this bike sounds fantastic. Wow, I wouldn't change this exhaust at all. This is, I don't know if it's a stock exhaust or not, I'm not sure. But if it's stock, it's perfect. It's even got a lot of power too. I don't know if this is a 117 or a 114. I'll have to look at it when I get off the bike. When I'm editing this video, I'll look back and see what size motor this is, and I'll put it up here because I can't remember what it is. And you know what? This bike handles nice. One thing about the Road Glide versus the Street Glide is that the Road Glide I thought handled better in turns than the Street Glide does, but I don't know, this one feels pretty good. This being a Street Glide Special, it's just lower than like the Street Glide Normal or even the full dresser Batwing, like the Electric Glide, whatever they call it nowadays. This Street Glide is sitting lower, it's actually kind of nice. The seat's comfortable too. Like this seat is really comfortable. It almost feels like the Heritage Softail seat, but this isn't a Softail, so it can't be the same seat. But it like cups my butt. Kind kind of like a hammock seat style, like a hammock style seat. I mean, I can see why the Street Glide is Harley's most popular motorcycle. You know, they sell more Street Glides than any other bike. At least I believe they still do. They used to. I'm pretty sure they still do. And I can see why. It rides nice. The fairing works well. It looks good. Personally, I still prefer the Road Glide, but that's preference. That's just, you know, aesthetics, mostly. But I'm not minding this like I remembered I minded it. The first time I rode one of these, I really didn't like this fairing at all in front of me. It bothered me. It's not bothering me today. In fact, I'm kind of liking it. Now, my brother, he's always ridden Batwing bikes. He now rides a Pan America Special, but he started with a Electric Glide Classic, or whatever they called it, the full dresser, and then after that, he had 2 Street Glides after that. Whereas I was always the Road Glide guy, so my brother and I were the classic example of that debate. Street Glide versus Road Glide. We've had plenty of arguments back and forth of which is better. But that said, this isn't as bad as I remembered it being. And this thing just sounds great, wow. This is that Harley feeling all wrapped up in a bright, shiny anniversary paint job. Beautiful red metallic or whatever it is. This is, and yeah, this paint job, let's talk about that for a while. I love the 120th anniversary paint job they did this year. I'm not trading in my Goldwing, there's no way I'm doing that. But if I wanted a second bike, it'd be a Harley. And if I wanted a second Harley right now, if I was buying one, I'd get something in this 120th anniversary paint job. Unless, of course, I bought a Pan America, then, you know, that doesn't come in this paint job, so. And it should, in my opinion. I wish it did. Good looking paint job. It's a 114. Okay, it's not a 117. I love that paint job. All right, so that was the Street Glide Special test ride, which I came away actually liking it a lot. I've only ridden 2 Batwings before in my entire life, and both times I didn't care for the Batwing fairing at all. It just felt too close to me, claustrophobic. I just didn't like the feeling from on the seat. I just didn't like it at all. I didn't like the way it rode either so much. But this 2023 Street Glide Special, it rode nice. I was impressed. I came away a little surprised actually. But now let's do the Road Glide Special test ride and see how that went for me. Here I am on a 2023 Road Glide Special in super bright orange paint job. What do you think of that? No? Too far forward, huh? So yeah, like I was saying, I'm very familiar with the Road Glides. I love the Road Glides. Now I just rode the Street Glide Special before this test ride, so this ride I'm directly comparing the Street Glide Special to the Road Glide Special. They're the same motors, the 114s, same everything except for the fairings on the front and the paint jobs, of course. But the Road Glide has the, you know, the shark nose fairing, whereas the Street Glide has the Batwing fairing. And right away, I personally feel better on the Road Glide. I just like the open air feeling of the fairing on the Road Glide. I prefer it. I greatly prefer it over the Street Glide fairing, the Batwing. Yeah, good exhaust this bike. Whatever exhaust they have on it, it's right. It's buy a stock exhaust. I do believe the special version, the Road Glide Special and the Street Glide Special, come with like Screaming Eagle exhaust or something, but whatever it is, it's good. I like it. So yeah, right away, I just love the feel of the Road Glide more than the Street Glide. There's something about not having the weight of the fairing on the handlebars. It just really makes the bike feel better to me. And you know, the Street Glide's a good bike. I'm not saying it's not. Harley sells more Street Glides than anything else, so obviously people love them. But in my opinion, the Road Glide just feels better while riding. It feels lighter, it feels more nimble. You don't get as much buffering in your hands from wind or crosswinds or anything really, because there's less weight loaded on the handlebar than there is when you're on the Road Glide. Here the fairing's attached to the frame, so the weight of the fairing just transfers to the frame and not to the handlebars. And I prefer that. I think it's a better design. I think it rides better, it handles better. It's just more my preference, I guess. Yeah, I guess it kind of shows I just love Road Glides. I love that sound. And it does feel pretty good. The seat's nice on this bike. It's the same seats on the Street Glide Special, so they both feel good. Very plush, very soft. Kind of hug your butt like a hammock, sort of, so the seat's nice. Man, I do love a Road Glide. Road Glides are built for just eating up miles. Just cruising back roads or touring highways. I love the way the Road Glide handles. But even still, my 2018 Goldwing DCT Tour does feel a little more nimble in the curves than this does. I think it does. It rides better, the suspension is better. But then again, my Goldwing's on a Harley Davidson, so it doesn't have that V-twin feel. Doesn't have that sound like this does. You know, doesn't have that. But apart from the sound and V-twin feel aspect, I do feel my Goldwing is the superior riding and touring machine, and that's why I traded my and that's why I traded my Road Glides in for my current bike, the Honda Goldwing. But not everyone would want that, you know. I mean, to some people, that Harley feeling is more important. I will admit, you know, I love my Goldwing, and I'm not going to trade it in or get rid of it. But there are times where I miss that Harley feeling. That's part of why I love these demo days. It gives me a chance to ride a Harley for a bit and get that Harley itch scratched, you know what I mean? Stuff like this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh man, I love the way Road Glides handle. Yeah, back to the whole Street Glide Special versus Road Glide Special. Now, I'm sorry, the Road Glide wins hands down. It's not even close for me. The Road Glide just feels better. It just handles better. It feels more connected to the road. The Road Glide just rides better. That's all there is to it. I would never ever choose a Batwing fairing over a shark nose. But hey, you know, lots of other riders would choose the Batwing over the shark nose. I know guys that hate the way the shark nose looks, not the Batwing. There are people that just hate Road Glide fairings. They just can't stand the way they look. And that's fine, you know. I mean, that's why Harley makes both bikes. That's why they have two fairings. This orange is awesome. It's very close to what my old Crosstrek was. Now, I love my Goldwing, but there are days I miss this Road Glide. Or my Road Glide. I miss having a Road Glide. There's something about riding a Harley that just oozes a good time, you know? I do miss being able to rev bomb bridges and underpasses and stuff. So you gonna buy one? Huh? You gonna buy one? No? There's a lot of things I don't like about it. Oh, Road Glides. I do love Road Glides. 2023 Road Glide Special. And awesome orange.
A whole lot of stuff, man.
Don't forget your thing here. There you go.
How'd you like that?
I love it. I love Road Glides. I had one for 11 years, so you know.
Low, dude.
What's that?
That looks pretty low.
It is low. It is. It's just great. Now, last summer when I did these test rides, I actually made notes when I came home comparing the two when they were fresh in my mind. And I still preferred the Road Glide fairing. I just do. I like the Road Glide fairing better. I like its the openness from the seat view. I like the way, you know, the gauges and stuff are laid out. I like the storage compartments in the fairing. But more importantly, I like the way it rides better. The Road Glide fairing just, to me personally, feels better on the road. Much better, actually. I'll say a little better, slightly better. When I rode the Batwing years and years ago, I really didn't like how it felt on the road. But this time, the Road Glide Special felt okay on the road. It actually felt pretty good. The Road Glide fairing still feels better for me on the road. But the difference this time was less than I remembered it being. Just the weight on the handlebars feels lighter. It feels lighter in the curves. It feels more sporty. It feels better at highway speeds with the wind blowing against you. There's less, you know, buffeting on the handlebars, less wind feel on the handlebars. It just, the Road Glide seems to cut through wind, whereas the Street Glide kind of just, you can feel it pushing wind. That's the way I could put it best. Now both these bikes were specials, not the Ultras. The seats were identical. The exhaust sounded identical, to be honest. They both had 114s in them. The controls are pretty much the same on the handlebars. So there's not, you know, they're basically the same bike, it's just different fairings is what I'm trying to say. So it's pretty much, you know, it's not surprising that they feel so similar when riding, to be honest. And while I do think the Road Glide feels better on the road from a handling and riding and comfort point of view, it's not a huge difference in my opinion. So if I had someone asking me which bike they should get, I would say get the one you like better from the looks of it, is what I would say, you know? And I think that's why a lot of people, you know, the whole debate, Street Glide versus Road Glide, a lot of it I think comes down to just visual preference. Which bike do you think looks better? Some people like the Batwing look, some people like the Road Glide look. Some people hate the shark nose fairing, some people hate the Batwing fairing, you know? I mean, so I would say just get the bike you like best. That's pretty much, you know, because they both ride so close to each other. Yes, the Road Glide probably technically rides a little better, but is it enough to buy a bike you hate the way it looks? Probably not, no. Now these are Rushmore fairings. There's, you know, Harley has improved both these fairings over the years. So maybe the difference, because the gap has gotten a lot smaller than it used to be the last time I rode a Batwing fairing. You know, it was over a decade ago. But this time the difference was much less pronounced. And a lot of that might be due to Harley improving both fairings and closing the gap between them, possibly. Now we have 2024 bikes with even newer and different redesigned Batwing fairings and the shark nose fairing. Now I haven't ridden the new fairings yet for 2024. I don't know how they compare. I will say visually though, I don't care much for the 2024 Road Glide fairing. I think for 2024, for the new redesigned fairings, I think the new Batwing fairing looks better visually than the new Road Glide fairing. Something about the headlight on the new Road Glide fairing, I just don't like the look of it. I don't like it at all. I'd sooner pick a 2023 shark nose fairing over a 2024 shark nose fairing. Like, in an instant. Something about the new Road Glide fairing I don't like. I don't like the headlight. But the new Batwing fairing I think looks sharp. I mean, they did a great job on that fairing. It looks wonderful. So the answer to the debate, Street Glide versus Road Glide, it's real simple. Pick the bike you like the best. That's it. That's the answer to the debate. Debate's over, problem solved. But it was interesting to ride both these bikes back to back on the same day within an hour of each other. It was very interesting. I really enjoyed it. And I would advise anyone looking to buy a Harley and can't choose between the Street Glide or the Road Glide, ride them both back to back. Together, like ride one, then ride the other right afterwards, just to compare them directly and see what you think. And then just pick the one you like the best. It's that simple. So that's it for this video. Leave any comments down below if you have any questions or if you want to add your 2 cents to the Street Glide versus Road Glide debate. If you ever get a chance to ride these 2 bikes back to back, the Road Glide versus Street Glide, I say do it. It's interesting. It's a cool little experiment. On that note, thanks for watching. Take care, ride safe. See you next time.